Hi everybody, and welcome again to SDVoE presents Face-to-Face AV with Justin Kennington. That's me, your host, Justin Kennington. I'm joined today by Brent Tremblay of IDK America. He is their business development manager for North America. Brent, thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
So we like to say SDVoE is sustainable, flexible, and available. As we sit here right now, I'd like to focus in a little bit on the available part of this equation.
Sure.
I hear it from all of our members, and I heard it from you just now, that sales have picked up hugely for SDVoE in general, for IDK in particular, over the past few months. Now, I have some ideas about why that is, but why don't you tell me what's going on in your world these days and how we've gotten to such a good spot?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd say around Infocom last summer was when we really started to see a lot of traction.
June 2022?
Yeah, June 2022, okay. End of summer. When a lot of our competitors were starting to really have major issues with supplying products. And
you're talking about the C word.
Yeah, we can say the C word and maybe some other ones too, but they were a big one, especially in the U.S. market.
Yeah.
So we started to have a lot of dealers start coming out and getting inquiries. We met some of them at Infocom, and as soon as they started looking at our product offering, that's when they were like, okay, well, this might be a good solution. And then as soon as our friends weren't able to produce anything at all or ship anything at all, we started to get a really massive tracking of people looking for, here's our product, here's our design, what do you have, what can we sub out? And a lot of it was 1G AV over IP, so naturally it made sense to fill in with our IP Ninja product, which is our SDVoE solution, and it was just a easy fit, and it just took off from there and got into people's hands and just spread like fire. So
what do you think? To my mind, this was always a good product that you had. They should have been buying it before this.
Yeah, I agree.
What do you think was holding it back?
Yeah, so it was there was a lot of hesitation even when I would suggest IP Ninja, and they would be like, oh, we have to get a 10G switch. And I think a lot of their mindset was going back to all the things they've heard for the last few years, really since SDVoE started really marketing quite a bit.
Yep.
Was the 10G is expensive, you have to run cable, people just didn't understand it, so it was like this monster in the closet kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it turns out, once a lot of our partners started switching and using IP Ninja, they were just like, oh, it's really easy. You get a 10G switch, that's really the only difference. The cabling's more or less the same, and once they got in there, it was just like, oh, we should have been doing this from the start. So I think it was just a lot of the boogeyman telling them, 10G's scary, and it really didn't turn out to be that way.
The 10G FUD was holding them back. Yeah, and then so this is how I've seen it too. Then I painted this picture in my head where, for 6+ years now, we've been out there preaching this gospel of AV over IP is important, AV over IP is great, SDVoE is the best way to do it. And I feel like a lot of people were nodding along and saying, yeah, that sounds really good, I get it. But, when the rubber meets the road, it's easier to stick with what you know, with what you've been doing, whether that's a manufacturer that you're beholden to, or whether that's a matrix switch that you're just comfortable with. And then finally, the supply chain hiccup was just the sort of kick in the pants that I feel like they're waking up and going, now wait a minute, I remember hearing those SDVoE guys talking, and it sounded, can you tell me that again? What did you say about that?
Yeah, so...
And suddenly they're really focused and into it.
Yeah, so it's been great. We've worked with some partners that, 2 years ago, I never would have thought I'd be sitting in those offices with some of those big national integrators in the U.S., and some of them, even have offices outside the U.S.
I know, and I think it's okay for me to say you've had some success at AVI-SPl, the lead member of our Certified Design House program.
Yeah, we started, they kind of came to us maybe around mid-August, and they had a very large project in the state of Virginia with a government entity.
Okay.
And that particular one had some baseband stuff plus some IP stuff, and so they ended up using our baseband and IP stuff for that project. And that was, they were hoping to start small, do a very controlled project that wasn't very high profile, and so that way we can kind of test the waters. But our first big project with them was this massive probably 100 plus endpoint system in Richmond, Virginia, and it's gone without a hitch.
Well.
It's the consultant was involved with it. We got a lot of stuff up and running for them, did some modification for some very specific things that they needed, but they plugged everything in, it worked, they saw all the endpoints, they were able to make their video routes, use their control system, and then from there, it was kind of like the whole company's eyes were looking on that, and they were like,
Yeah, I
okay,
imagine.
this is either going to go really well or really bad, and thankfully, I always thought, IDK is a very reputable company, we put a lot of testing in before we sell anything, so I knew it was going to go well, and once it went well, we started having all of their AVI-SPl offices were just coming out of the woodworks like, hey, we need another project flipped. Can you help with that? So I think that's what really spearheaded that was with AVI-SPl in general.
I mean, I know the platform works. You know that your product works.
So I was just getting out there
to
and
hear
testing
that,
it.
when people get the experience, they
and a lot of their feedback too has been very positive because they obviously do a lot of very in-depth in-house testing to make sure that they're not just selling anybody's product. So working with their head of engineering and their engineering team in Wisconsin, they've bench tested our IP Ninja products, and they've compared it to other AV over IP solutions in there, and they've said it's one of the best ones they've seen, and the video quality is there, and the funny thing that always sticks out is they read our spec sheet, and actually from SDVoE too, like what everything goes on with the latency and all those, and they kind of thought we might be lying a little bit or fudging some numbers, but when they actually did, they threw some really nasty video at us just to see if they could break it, and they were like, it holds up the best they've seen. So the scaling, the color space, the attention to detail and stuff was...
I can't believe they thought a Japanese company was fibbing on the spec sheet.
Yeah, well, that's what they were just like, you're not lying. I was just like, yeah.
There
are
it down right here.
There are companies that are truthful out there.
Wow, there it is.
So,
that's it. You get so accustomed to being treated a certain way.
Yeah, so it's been good.
And there you go. Was there anything that, whether AVI-SPl or a different customer, anything that they were surprised by? I mean, we're talking about flipping jobs from one technology to another. When that's your mindset, you're just trying to kind of get back what you had and make sure it's all there.
Yeah.
Was there anything they said, oh wow, it does this too?
Yeah, they. I mean, obviously, getting more in depth in our entire product portfolio, they saw a lot of added features that maybe they're little things, but if they're little nice things,
the little things
and it's like
especially
on the programming side or the commissioning side, just to be able to simplify one small thing, goes a long way for them. So finding ways that we do things maybe easier than some of our competitors was a nice thing to see. So, and it's all documented on our documentation, so they were able to read through that. And obviously our support's been really good at getting out and helping them flip those projects and doing that. So
awesome. How do you see the future over the next few months here?
Yeah, so it's continuing to just keep growing exponentially. So they're definitely doing a lot more SDVoE type projects, and we're getting out there and getting in front of them so that they can see, get educated on our projects, go into the offices that may not be as familiar with us yet. So getting them up to speed on everything. We've met some of them here at the show. There's a few people from the U.S. office that are attending ISE, and so we've showed them some of the newer products that we have planned to come out a little later this year, probably around InfoComm time or in the fall, and they're really excited about our transceiver models, our new wall plates, and our baseband switchers that are hybrid SDVoE switchers as well.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot.
I didn't even know about that one.
Yeah. So we've kind of bridged presentation switchers with SDVoE inputs and outputs. So you can have localized switching, HDMI switching locally, and then the switcher can act as both the transmitter and receiver to an SDVoE solution.
All right, that's cool.
So I'm
going to have to pick one of those up.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
Last thing, I said we're focused on availability. Let's talk just very specifically about availability.
Sure.
If I place an order for some IDK Ninja today, what kind of lead times will I be quoted and delivered?
Yeah, so we work really closely with our partners in understanding, how many units they need, what their timeline for the install is. So that's really what plays a lot into it. But we've been able to ship things, within a month.
Less than a year?
Yeah, less than a year. So, yeah. Sometimes 52 hours if you give us.
Ooh, zing.
Give it there. So, but yeah, our IP Ninja, which is our SDVoE line, is pretty readily available. And those are shipping, and we're continuing to build new endpoints every month to keep our stock levels sufficient. So we're happy to talk to anybody individually about what their needs are and
Sure.
quote more accurately based on their project and their timeline and everything.
That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Brent, thanks for the chat.
Yeah, I appreciate
I'm excited
it.
to see what's been happening here. And
Yeah.
I know you are.
I think 2023 is going to be a big year for IDK, for SDVoE, and all of our other alliance members. I think we're going to see a big jump in people adopting SDVoE and really embracing it and moving forward with that. So.
Congratulations on the growth.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Of course.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to click that subscribe button down there so that you don't miss an episode of Face to Face AV. And thank you for watching.